Hey, it's Amanda. Today I'm going to focus on my monthly planning routines in my traveler's notebook. So this is a traveler's notebook from Spek. This is called the Special Nomad, and the leather is Touch Me Noir. You can find information about this notebook all over my channel, on my blog, on their blog, so feel free to click around and ask questions. Again, today is going to focus on my monthly planning. I do have previous videos on my weekly and daily planning routines, a lot of which happens on this dot grid paper. So for now, we're going to start on this insert, and then at the end, I'll also just do a really quick flip through to show you kind of the bigger picture. So these inserts are from Paper and Cats. If you hear me say Taylor's shop, Taylor is the owner of Paper and Cats. So I might slip up and say that. But I've been using these from Taylor since 2016, actually. And there's her shop logo. And then I also add some additional pages, which I'll talk about next. So these are great, simple, plenty of room for my handwriting, which I think is maybe a little smaller than average. But I can fit a good amount in here. I also use this column as well, and sometimes the bottom, to really maximize it. So a lot of people have questions kind of about my icons. So I'm going to start with that, and then I'll talk about what's actually on here and the order in which I fill it out and use it. So I actually, I don't have my 2019 notebook, but I did this same kind of color coding where I pick one color for each month. I did that for all of 2019 and I loved it. It helped me get through my sticker collection kind of too and use things. So what I did was, this is just like a ripped out sheet of paper, but for 2019, I did a row for each month. This column is the color that I picked from PlannerKate, because these are PlannerKate icons. Also, these circles are from her shop. And then I would try to find something either in my stash or something that I bought that kind of coordinated with that to use that sticker kit for the entire month. So these are mostly kits that I wanted to use. This is the color from PlannerKate and this is the month. So some of it was in pencil because I just kind of thought ahead about what I could use, and that was another thing that helped me from buying more kits. It kind of gives my notebook, like if I'm doing green this month, it gives my notebook more of a cohesive look, I feel like, between the inserts, which some people don't care about, I know, but I enjoy that. So for 2020, I'm doing something really similar. I did kind of this blue, this like turquoisey blue in January. February I did more of a coral. March I'm in green, and I'll probably add in some more information there as the year goes on. So I just stack that in this back here. This is just a dashboard with a secretarial flap, so secretarial dashboard from the Foxy Fix. And this is from Get to Workbook, as well as that little postcard. Okay, back to monthly. So as I said, these are from PlannerKate, and I have a solid collection of icons. And as you can see, they come in a rainbow of colors. She has, these rainbows are just kind of like the main thing, and then you can also find other colors on her site as well. And you can also order custom colors if you were in an Erin Condren, for example, and wanted to match to your Erin Condren colorful planner. So I use those frequently. And then the first thing I do, I think it'll be easiest to talk about this way. So as time passes, I actually fill out my monthly calendar in pencil. So all of this is in pencil. I have stuff all the way, as far as December in pencil, and I actually like to do it that way. I think part of it is just the way that we do our scheduling and our family style of maybe doing things a little more last minute. Pencil works really well for me. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a color kit, and then I'm going to start transferring everything that's in pencil to pen and adding a sticker. I use stickers for repeating events, so it cuts down on the number of times I'm writing like dance practice or an event at the library. I just use the book. Planes are arrivals or departures, a family, and then sometimes I'll use stars. I use hands for physical therapy or any therapy because I still write PT or ST next to that. And I think those are the big ones. I'll use this one for like birthdays or birthday parties, or sometimes I'll use a little star instead. So some of this pencil stuff you'll see is also in Post-it notes. So if I'm transferring this event onto my calendar in pen, then I can take this Post-it note of this annual event and take out my OliClip. This is an OliClip. I get questions about this. It's just a magnet, but it's really nice because it doesn't leave indentions on your papers as paper clips do. And I'll link their shop below. So this is like an annual event that's in pencil on my monthly planner. This one, for example, is on a Post-it note. Once it's scheduled, I'll come back here and I'll put it in that month in this 2021. So this is for 2021, and I'll just make notes as the year goes on for things that are happening. I didn't use this printout. This printout is from Peanuts Planner Co. I didn't have this printout last year, and I just ended up with a bunch of random notes back here. So I think this will be helpful moving forward into 2021. So actually, I need to move this back because we haven't figured out when that is yet. So you can see I've got them in my like furnace maintenance and things like that. I also do it for our annual appointments like dental and eyes. Okay, so pencil to pen. I'm also going to be adding in birthdays, for example. And for birthdays, I'm going to pull them from my Perpetual Calendar, which if we go to my very last notebook in here, this is my reference notebook. I've done a complete flip through of it a couple times, including on my Getting Things Done video. But the last few pages of my reference notebook are a Perpetual Calendar. So I just have January, February, all the way to December. And this includes birthdays, anniversaries, death anniversaries, holidays. And I want to say that's everything. Like daylight saving times is on here as well. So really I don't miss anything if I just use my Perpetual Calendar. So I use that to fill out my birthdays. I miss my OliClip already, trying to find stuff. So I add that, and then I'm also going to be adding my work schedule. So if you see these little dots here, these correspond to things I have to do for work. They're deadlines more or less that relate to scheduling. So I'm per diem as a nurse, which means I work part-time and I make my own schedule. So this might look horrible or sound horrible to people who know, if you work like 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, this might seem awful, but truly I love it. I love self-scheduling. So in here I have the dates that I need to send in my schedule requests is the language we use for the shifts that I want. And then also when the final postings are up for me to check the schedule. And then these over here, I actually have to verify my time card. So I log in into like our time clock software and say like, yes, this actually accurately reflects the hours that I worked. So these are these deadlines on the weekend. And then I also know that I get paid the alternate week. So those kind of help me keep track of my paychecks as well. Okay, so that's work. The sun's going down, guys. I hope it's not going to get too dark. Let's see. The other thing I want to talk about, and this was a great idea from Brandy Michelle Plans, which is, I probably reference her in every other video, if not every video. But it's really popular right now to use stickers on like tabs or tab labels. And Brandy, I liked it. She took it a step further and she put like goals or things that she wants to do that month, like movie night or date night, YouTube recording, things like that were goals for the month. And instead of just like putting them on her weekly pages or her daily pages, she scheduled them like a soft kind of scheduling on a post-it note. So I really want our family to go on more like hikes together. So I've got this PlannerKate hiking sticker on a page flag or like a page tab, I guess is the appropriate word, from Post-it that I just trimmed down. And I would like for us to go on a hike this day, but I don't know, the weather and other variables like that. So it's kind of just scheduling in some goals. And Brandy may have done it on her weekly pages as well, which I think is just a great idea. Okay, next thing that I also wanted to add on here, Post-it notes to 2021. We talked about that. And then the next flow of events for me for planning the month, I really do it depending on whatever mood I'm in. Sometimes I'll go to my tracker first, and sometimes I'll go to my daily and weekly planning first. So if I go to my tracker first, obviously this would ideally be done before the first of the month, especially when we have weeks, because these are my weeks, week 10, where it kind of like splits in the middle of the month. So I would say a lot of times I do my tracker first, and this monthly stuff is always finished by the end of the month. I'm gonna have to get a new one because that's not sticking anymore. This month is always finished by the time it starts, but a lot of times when I'm like doing this work deadline, for example, that's when I'm going to be setting up all of April because I know that April 16th. So a lot of times this is done like mid-month, and then I won't set up my trackers until closer toward the beginning of the month. I hope that made sense. Let me know if not. So then I'm just going to update my trackers, which are also from Paper and Cats. It was like a design that I made in Excel, and it was really ugly, and I said, Taylor, please fix it. And she did, and now she offers it in multiple sizes. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on here, but this is daily tracking. This is stuff that I want to do weekly. This is basically Monday through Sunday, and then these are tasks that I do monthly. So every month I do have to transfer this weekly checklist. It really hasn't changed that much at all. Same with my monthly, very, very similar the past year and few months. I'm really enjoying. I also track my daughter's medication over here. I change up my tracking daily, kind of frequently, and then in the bottom half I've also just started tracking when I water my plants, and I'll also track fertilizing there. So at this time, and I still haven't picked them out for March yet, but I usually pick my projects for March somewhere in the middle of this process, and I put them here, and I do self-schedule a deadline, and then I check them off when they're done. This box down here, I usually don't do much at the beginning of the month to set it up because it has evolved a lot over the past few years. Like January, I didn't use it. February, I did like what I was currently reading, drinking, crafting, and watching. So I'm not really sure. I like the flexibility. I like the options that I have there, and I just haven't decided what's my favorite way to use it yet. And then I told you about this. The way that I keep track of the weeks, by the way, as you see on my weekly planner, I do track the weeks by their number, and then also in my weekly pages and my daily pages on my dot grid bullet journal. This is week 10, so this is from Peanut's Planner Co. in her yearly bundle, and I just print it out and I glue it in here. And then I also, before I forget, I have one of these floating around. Here we go. So this is new for me, but I wanted to keep better track of when we do like air filter changes and things like that. And like we change our own car filters, oil changes. I just want to be on top of that. So I've got this just floating around. I'm going to glue it down eventually somewhere. Just something new I'm trying this year. Okay. So the next thing after we've done our tracker and we filled out, so first we fill out the monthly page. Then I make sure my tracker is up to date. And then I'm going to start going into my daily and weekly pages in my dot grid. This is Tamale River paper from Paper Penguin Co. Yes, they all start with P's, I swear. So I'll link her shop below. I asked for square corners, and the paper is slightly off-white, just in case you're wondering. I do get questions about that as well. So far, by the way, all of this has taken like, I don't know, maybe like 5-10 minutes just to put everything that was in pencil into pen and then fill this out. Like, it doesn't take me long at all to do that. So the next part that I'm going to do is more of like the monthly review process, looking back at the previous month. So I have this sad checklist in my reference notebook that I don't use it very often anymore. So this was how like my monthly and weekly reviews used to be. Again, you can see my newest weekly review in the previous video that I posted. And then I started like modifying them a little bit. But I really like what I'm doing right now. I just haven't made a pretty checklist for myself. I don't need to at this point. Maybe one day though I will. So what I do at the end of the month is I'm going to set up a page. And of course I lost it. That looks like this. Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. That looks like this. So I write February review, I leave some space, and then I'm going to do reflections, and then I'm going to do March predictions. So these reflection questions come from a couple different websites, and I will just leave this here very still for a moment. NoSidebar.com and PatriciaRolt.com. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. So that was my original inspiration for these questions, and then you can see I've just kind of shortened the like biggest win, just says win, surprise, favorite, red, just to make it faster for me to do these things basically. And this is my previous notebook, so I've been doing this, I don't know, I have a picture, should have counted how many months I've been doing this, but I really enjoy this little process. It helps me kind of just ground myself in the previous month and then prepare for the month to come. So I've really enjoyed doing it. I'm definitely going to keep doing it in February. And in case you're new here, I don't want to confuse anybody. This is the same dot grid as this. There are 160 pages, as I said, from Paper Penguin Co. And when I fill them up, I just move to the next one, even if it's in the middle of the month. Or towards the end of the month. So I finished this one right at the end of February, actually, I think. So I left I think there's 2 blank pages hiding in there. And I just moved on to a new notebook. I don't lose sleep over that at all. It doesn't bother me one bit. So here's my February review. So of course, yeah, I do have some like March. What is going on here? Sorry. Let me like get myself back organized because we're jumping between months and review and things like that. But yes, so March started with a new notebook, but that just is how it worked out. Sometimes I have multiple days of each month in different notebooks, and so far that's been fine. It hasn't bothered me. I haven't ran into any trouble. So back in my current notebook, I'm sorry, this is for March, so looking ahead. So I filled this out, and then Actually, what I like to do is I like to set this up, and then I will go back for February review. I'm going to be reviewing all of my daily pages for February, which is this little chunk right here. So that might sound kind of taxing, but I use a key, and I've used the same key for a long time, so it doesn't take me very long at all to just scan the pages really quickly. And I'm just checking for any tasks that were left undone, and then I go ahead and put them here. Once I've collected them all and put them here, then I can prioritize them, and I'll either try to do them immediately, or I will schedule them for the upcoming week, or I will just leave them here because, again, I'm going to scan, I'm going to know that they're there, or I need to decide that there's something that I just need to be waiting on, and I'll transfer them to my waiting checklist, which is at the back of my dot grid. Again, you're going to want to look at my weekly review video if you're curious about my weekly review of my action categories from getting things done. So fill these out, then prioritize them. Then we're going to move on to reflections. And since I just looked at all of my pages for any leftover tasks, I have a good idea, you know, of things that I may have forgotten about that I can write about. These are just like really brief journaling statements is what I'll call them. And then I've set up March, so I kind of know what's coming up and I know what I'm kind of excited about or worried about, and I can focus on that. And then in February, I'm actually not going to show you all of it, but open notebooks. Anna is now journaling home. So at journaling home on Instagram, she does these 5 prompts at the beginning of the past couple months, and she has a ton more prompts too. She has an ebook as well, and I just did those prompts throughout the month, and I really like doing that, so I went ahead and left a page to do them here. And then I jumped right into my weekly overview with my daily bullet journal pages. Usually I'm a lot more open and I can share pages. This month I really can't, but this is like a little glimpse at my key, like tasks to schedule, gratitude, a note, arrows. I don't always do like a sticker, but just arrows going forward mean like somewhere to go or an appointment, even the grocery store. And then this year, this month I added in this sleep tracker. So we're gonna see how that goes. Really healthy so far. And then this is from Virgo and Paper. It is her freebie calendar. It's actually her phone background, but I just printed out to fit in here, and I really like it. I have the stickers actually that go with this collection, and I'm excited to use as well. So that was just something to add in here. I just washi taped it in. And I think that is about it, because as I said, we just jump right into this week 10. So left a page for that. Set up my coming weeks. The only other thing that I do at the beginning of the month is I'm going to look at my budget. So this is also something kind of new. I've tried various things over the years and nothing has stuck. So far this is sticking a little bit. So I'm using Post-it notes. I think it takes away from the dull Excel spreadsheet look of numbers that I dislike so much. So this top one is basically just groceries and things for the home. And then at the bottom, I'm doing like when we eat out. And then this is like my spending for me or on me, like my fun spending, basically. I feel the need to say I don't always spend this much money on like plants and dirt, but about once a year we buy all of our seeds and I get some new soil and stuff like that. So, and like the heart, you know, is Valentine's Day. So we don't buy gifts for each other very much, but we're totally cool buying gifts for ourselves in celebration of the holiday, if that makes sense. Gift giving is not our love language. So I'm just going through some of my Post-it notes that reflect the color that I'm focusing on that month. That is everything in a nutshell. So let me really quickly do a flip through just so it kind of makes sense in context. And I do invite you to go watch my other videos to have them make a little more sense. So Spek Nomad, standard size, traveler's notebook. It has 4 strings, so I do have 1 jump band in here. This is my month on 2 pages from Paper and Cats. And this is my tracker from Paper and Cats, who you can find on Etsy. This is an OliClip, which is always here connecting my months to my tracker. This next insert is 160 pages of Tomoe River paper from Paper Penguin Co. You saw my weekly overview and then my daily pages. I do use a Pilot Vanishing Point. It's inked with Noodler's Heart of Darkness. I have an extra fine nib, and I also use blotting paper, so I don't have to worry too much about it being dry. I can just close it with that blotting paper and move on. And then at the back of this dot grid, I was just kind of playing around with pencils, so you probably can't see this, but these are my action categories. So these are things that I review at least once a week. and it kind of just helps me be more efficient. So when I am focusing on like being at the computer, for example, I'm at the computer, well, here's a list of things I need to do or print at the computer, things that are related to work when I'm focusing on work, and then of course things that I'm waiting on is a great list, and then wish list is back here as well. So those are action categories inspired by getting things done. This next insert is my budget insert, which I'm not ready to share. I'm still kind of working out how I like to do it, but I am doing monthly bill tracking as well in here and some savings goals. And then this is my reference notebook that hasn't changed for a long time. I still don't have an index for it, but these are how I track like our overview of our health for the year. And then it also has information that doesn't change, like that perpetual calendar, phone numbers for work and addresses and my monthly reviews, and then some like big hairy focus goals for my life. This is the back of that dashboard. What I did was I got a regular size number 6 Foxy Fix dashboard with the secretarial flaps. I cut it and then I used packing paper to widen the spine. It's worked okay so far. It's starting to fall apart, so we'll figure out a new solution soon. This is just an envelope cut in half with some Sweet Fox papery stickers that I want to use. And then these are actually, well, those are Valentine's from Paw Patrol. So these are from 3 years apart. They are free on their blog, and I just printed them out. They also sell them as stickers on Etsy. So that's what I'm doing on my daily pages, if you noticed. So I'm just gluing those on and then kind of tracing around them. I just thought it was something different, something fun. That's what keeps me entertained, and that's what keeps me from changing notebooks or sizes all the time, in part. This is also just a really great size for me. I carry it every day as my wallet, so it's not too heavy, it's not too big. Yeah, that's dried milk. So I'm going to go get like a baby wipe, and I'll just wipe that off, and it will be as good as new, because that's not the first time that milk has spilled on my notebook. So this is a great leather. It's called Touch Me Noir. It's from Spek. I've had this for 2 years now with kids, and they have pulled and tried to rip it and spilled milk on it, and it still looks great. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you for your patience. I know there is some time between videos that I post, but feel free to just subscribe so you don't miss them. Talk to you soon.